Hey everybody, welcome to DadsDen of Pop Culture, Mighty Thor Monday, and we're taking a little diversion. This time, away from the mainline Thor comic book, written and drawn by Walt Simonson, to the Mighty Avengers number 249, Demon Storm, featuring Thor, Hercules, the Fantastic Four. Why? Well, because this follows directly from Thor number 349, and Thor number 350 comes right after this particular story. So it fills a little bit of a gap. So we're going to take a quick look at this one. There are a couple places in it that kind of deal with Avengers storylines at the time. We'll sort of go past those. So we begin with the snows of summer. Hercules on some kind of island resort, and in the background is an American aircraft carrier. Although that's not what an aircraft carrier actually looks like, really at all. But we will find out later it is an aircraft carrier. So we got Hercules. This, by the way, by Roger Stern, writer. Breakdowns, Alan Milgrom. Finishes, Joe Sinnott and crew. Letterer, Jim Novak. Colorist, Juliana Ferreter. Mark Grunwald is our editor. Jim Shooter is our editor-in-chief. So he is singing tales of, well, how great he is, because that's what Hercules does. The ladies are all gathering around him. And some of the guys at this resort aren't real happy since Herc is not actually a paying guest. So they decide to confront him, one in particular, and he gets picked up by Hercules, who's kind of like, well, I mean, we could have a fight, but it's not going to be a very good fight. But as he is kind of messing with this guy, he gets hit in the face by a snowflake. And yes, in fact, it starts snowing. Hounds of Hades, what madness is this? But a moment ago, the skies were clear, and now snow. So, well, we know what's going on with that. He doesn't. And of course, if you were an Avengers reader and you weren't reading Thor, you wouldn't have known necessarily either. So he jumps into the ocean to swim out to that aircraft carrier. Now, meanwhile, Vision is having a conference with this supercomputer on the planetoid Titan, which orbits Saturn. And this is called Isaac, and it's a part of the Avengers storyline. We're not going to really get into it, but in the middle of it, he's called away because there is an emergency. Well, what is the emergency? Well, there is snowfall pretty much everywhere on Earth, and we know that's because the casket of ancient winters was broken in the last issue of Thor. Okay, and they get a call from Hercules, "Ho, Avengers, can you hear me? 'Tis Hercules who calls." And he fills them in on what he's seeing. He is flying in right now from that aircraft carrier if they can make it through all the snow. So everybody's kind of alerted that there's something going on, and that's when Thor shows up at Avengers Mansion. "Hear me, Avengers. We face a crisis most grave." "Thor, do you know what's causing this blizzard?" "I fear that I do, Captain Marvel. The casket of ancient winters has been broken, and all who live are imperiled." And then he kind of tells the story for all the folks who hadn't been reading Thor. And basically the concept is Malekith has opened this thing. Surtur is bringing his demons to Earth, and he's going to use that in order to open the Rainbow Bridge to Asgard so he can go in and destroy everything. "If e'er your power was needed, it is needed now. Let the call go forth throughout the land. Let the Avengers assemble." Da-da-da. So, meanwhile, Hercules and this pilot are flying to New York City, and they are suddenly overtaken by the demon hordes of Surtur. Let's take a look at that. Now, Milgrom drew in a very Jack Kirby sort of style, which works pretty well with these guys. There's old Hercules up there. So they're sort of overtaken by these things. Well, what are they going to do? How is he going to get out of the airplane and get into the fight? And we see New York City. I really kind of made me laugh. So there's, not this, but the World Trade Center. But you see on top of all the buildings, a little snow. It'd be pretty thick snow, actually. So I don't think anybody would be walking around in the streets that easily if it was that thick on the top of the World Trade Center. I mean, I imagine that's got to be about 20 to 40 feet worth of snow. Okay, so we have the hordes attacking in New York. What do we got back there? Iceman. They got plenty of that now. They are heading uptown. They're at 18th Street. And finally, the heroes arrive. We see Mjolnir fly through and knock a lot of these guys out. Avengers attack. Captain Marvel goes in. There's Star Fox back there, Scarlet Witch, etc. Now, Vision is still back at Avengers Mansion trying to organize more help. Star Fox finds out these things do not have like a pleasure center in their brain that he can manipulate. So he just goes ahead and punches one in the face. Scarlet Witch also has some issues with, figuring out how to use her hex power best against them. Same with Wasp. She can't quite get through their armor, but she can use it to distract them. So stronger heroes can punch them out. We have Captain Marvel using electricity on them, which isn't quite enough to knock them out. And so basically, though, they're all working together to stop this horde of Surturs. Well, back at Avengers Mansion, the West Coast Avengers are not available. Alpha Flight is basically not interested. Plus, Canada's getting blanketed by snow as well, so they can't deal with it. Finally gets a hold of the Fantastic Four. And so here we see Beta Ray Bill, we see Volstagg, we see Hogun the Grim, there's Fandral the Dashing. They're all fighting against these guys on the frozen Hudson River. And we see Starhawk, he's kind of getting, bum rushed by them. And then all of a sudden, allow me, who? Fickle Fox, how soon we forget. She-Hulk. So yes, She-Hulk has entered the battle. This is while she was with the Fantastic Four, and she and Star Fox, they know each other pretty well. Any rate, so the rest of the Fantastic Four arrives, and before Captain Marvel can warn the Torch, he tries to roast these guys, which of course does not work because they are creatures of fire. So Torch is sort of out of luck there, although in the comic books, he also could absorb heat and actually freeze things if he wanted to, so he maybe could have done that. Well, Hercules, man, he can't wait to get into this. How's he going to get down? Well, muscles, if that's what you really want, and he shoots him out on the ejection seat, and he lands on top of one of the demons. So now Hercules has entered the fray, and of course, that's going to be fun. Now, this is more Avengers business with a villain that they were fighting at the time. So we'll skip over that. We see Hercules has them all wrapped up in a snowball, and he's, bandying words with Hogun the Grim about who's more powerful, him or Thor. Classic stuff. Vision has arrived. He's getting in there now too. Wow. Hercules is like snapping that dude on his leg right there. He isn't playing with the demons. But it seems like they're starting to get control of this horde. They got them sort of bottled up. And then dark clouds on the horizon, but they are not clouds. It's another wave of demon warriors. There must be thousands of them. Fight on then. Though the death goddess Hela claim us all, let not a single demon pass. That's, of course, coming from Hogun the Grim. Hogun the Grim. And we end with this splash page of everybody kung fu fighting. Who do we got? We got Torch up there. There's Star Fox. There's Scarlet Witch. Vision. There's Volstagg. There's She-Hulk. Captain Marvel. Mr. Fantastic. You get the idea. The gang's all here. And this will then be continued in Thor number 350. On sale in just 3 weeks. And whatever you do, don't miss next month's senses-shattering showdown with Maelstrom and World Power. Well, we are going to miss that because we're not covering the Avengers right now. We're covering Thor. So we're going to see the end of this battle in the next issue of Thor. Next Monday, we'll be covering that. Let me know what you think about this one. When it's mostly fighting, it goes by pretty darn quickly. In terms of doing these reviews, because it's just a whole lot of action and people getting, slugged rather than a lot of story progression and character development. But let me know what you think of this one. Probably a good idea to venture into the Avengers. If you're going to have some major occurrence in New York City, you need to get other heroes involved, or else it gets a little unrealistic for Marvel. And also, it introduces what's going on in Thor to maybe an audience of people that is not reading Thor. So maybe they go, well, I want to see the end of this. I'll pick up Thor number 350, and who knows, maybe they'll even get hooked. But let me know what you think in the comments of this one. I would love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this little video review of Avengers number 249, part of Mighty Thor Monday, let me give it a like, sorry. I sometimes forget the words that I have said 8,000 times now in videos. Give it a like, maybe subscribe, maybe share with a friend. But until next week, God bless everybody. Please be kind to one another. Have a little bit of fun out there, and I will see you hopefully again soon in Dad's Den of pop culture. Bye-bye.